All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trade. Today's Friday, December 31st, 2021. So obviously last day of the trading year, markets flat here, S&P flat, QQQ down almost 0.5%, Dow flat, and the Russell up 0.1% here. So Russell the leader today, barely scratching a gain out. Market's trying to flag up here, so you have a little bit of a bull flag here on the spider. It's trying to pop here, but a different story here on the Qs. You have kind of a bearish inside bar really on the triple Qs. If we take a look on the hourly, flip over here, so you have moved down and now you're kind of consolidating right above this 50 MA. And we talked about the semiconductors last night. This is the level we're going to watch very closely into the close. If we can close below this level, I'm pretty bearish on the semis moving forward. That would be a failed bull flag there on the SMH. Now the volume is very light, so they could push it one way or the other. Wouldn't surprise me if we popped into the close. Wouldn't surprise me if we sold off a bit into the close overall. That said, moving forward, I would not advise owning any tech companies right now. I am pretty bearish on tech, all things considered here. I think it is a laggard. Semis are not looking good here. If we take a look at the IGV, for instance, just take a look at this monthly candle here on cloud software. That is massive sell volume on cloud software, taking out this green bar, all of the gains from October, and most of them are reversed last month and continuing to the downside this month here. You did have some little support here at the 390 handle, but just overall not a great look here. Semiconductors, hanging man candle on the monthly, and triple Q is another hanging man on the monthly. So I'm not really fond of tech right now. Also, we're watching this green bar low here on tech. That is the triple Q there. Let's put that in at 398.22. And so if we, if that is lost by the close, just not a good look. I mean, another failed bullish pattern, essentially. I still think tech is the weak link. And then, the Russell after that, and then the S&P, and then the Dow, I think, will hold up the best moving forward, as the Dow is made up of 30 blue chip stocks. But I am really not liking tech here moving forward, just in general. Let's take a look at the spiders daily. So we're kind of into this risk zone here. So, every time we get up to these trend lines here, it's been an area of resistance. We rolled over the last time we got there, and we started to print a bullish pattern. Remember the last time we printed a bullish pattern right here? That failed. We're printing a bullish pattern here again. I think there's a high chance that this one fails. Same deal right back here in August. Tried to chop bullish here, and then that rolled over. So, and again, the volume is very light. There's no reason for this market not to be able to rally right now, and it is showing weakness. So I am very cautious. I'm in very caution mode moving forward here, especially on tech. Let's talk here about rates. So a little bit of a pullback today on rates, continuing from yesterday. This to me looks nothing more than a test candle here on the 10-year. Popped down to that 200, closed back inside of this green bar. Not a huge deal there. 30-year, same thing. You can see the test candle, nice tail closing back above these pivots here at 1905 there on the TYX. I still think rates push higher, and that is another reason why I am bearish tech moving forward. Now, one area of strength today, we did have Fins scratching out a bit of a gain, so financials are flattish to positive. JP Morgan, if we take a look at the intraday, this one's been a little bit of a stronger name. Started off okay, faded down a little bit, and then it has gotten a bit as as rates started to recover. But ultimately, I'm still not liking the pattern here on Fins. If you look at Goldman, that is negative today. Broker dealers are doing worse than the actual money center banks. So broker dealers looking like they're going to lose this green bar low. So just not a good look overall, and really kind of the same, just kind of reiterating the same thing that I was talking about last night. Just lower highs in financials, lower highs in tech. We talked about semiconductors. Look at NVIDIA continuing to the downside today. Again, nothing major here. It's still holding the 50 moving average for now, but you lost that opening power bar on yesterday, and seeing some continued downside today. AMD, same deal, lost that power bar Monday. You're into this necktie of moving averages here, so it probably gets, it probably finds a little bit of support here, but continuing to the downside today with a very, very light volume market. There's no reason for the market not to be rallying right now, and it really hasn't been able to. I mean, we're flattish. Now, moving on to next week, it is the first of the year, so and first of the month as well. So a lot of the time you can see some new money flow into the market from pension funds and so on and so forth. So maybe the market gets a little bit of a bid going into next week, but ultimately towards the early and middle part of January, I'm definitely in caution mode on this market overall. But in any case, you guys know how nothing's really changed from the past couple of weeks and really since last night's video. But just want to give you that update there. Anyways, let's look at a few sectors here. So crude pulling back. I told you it was going to stall out around 77. It did that. Now it's not a major pullback, down 2%, nothing crazy. If it does, it probably has support around 73. If you get through that, you're down to 70 or so. These are pretty good support areas. And ultimately, I talked about this area last night. This is a nice trend line here of support on crude. I said that could you take a short here? Yeah, I just don't really like the upside for it. But if I had to pick one, I'd rather be a seller than a buyer at this area, just because you're so close to resistance at this point. But crude continuing to pull back just a little bit there. XLE, I talked about this pattern yesterday. You had that little 3-bar pullback. I said it could possibly pop today, and it is a little bit. I mean, 0.5%. It's nothing crazy. If you get through, let's see, you got XLE here, 54 to 56. Yeah, you could probably see it get up to about 57 or so and change before it stalls out. So a nice little 3-bar pullback, and then potentially a pop here on the XLE. And of course, the same thing with the XOP. Excuse me, that's XP. XOP, but XOP weaker than the XLE. We talked about that last night. And of course, OIH, the weakest out of all of them, but still up 0.3%. So energy kind of hanging in there for now. Nat gas up 5% again. So nat gas getting a bid. Pick up some of these lines here. So nat gas getting a little bit of a bid, reversing some of yesterday's losses. I still think nat gas has one more leg lower in it, though. Let's move on here and talk about the dollar. So dollar got hit a little bit today. This is pulling back into the 50 MA. I still like this pattern here on the weekly. This should set up for a move higher into early next year. So dollar, nothing really wrong there on the dollar index. Dollar actually, obviously pulling back, and that is helping gold out. So gold finally getting through these pivots here. Talked about the 1820 area. It's now through that. So now it's, I would say it's clear to right around 1840, 1850. If it can get up to 1860, that's where it's going to hit a lot of resistance. So just bear that in mind. I'm not overly optimistic about the upside here on gold in the near term, or excuse me, in the medium term, but in the near term, it can get up to that 1860 handle. Silver, same deal, still has to deal with this pivot here at 2350. If it can get through that, then you got, about 24, we'll call it 2430 or so, maybe 2450. You can get up to that area before you run into some major resistance. Platinum, I like what this did today. Nice little pop. We talked about the bullish pattern yesterday, little test candle here, and then a bounce back. So this is not a terrible look here on platinum for an advance to get through these moving averages. And again, the upside there, it'll probably be 1025 or so before it stalls out. Palladium test candle as well, although much less bullish than platinum was, as it closed a lot closer to the lows there. Still down 4.5% on the day, but again, resistance here is that 100 MA. If it gets through that, maybe you can get up here and challenge these pivots. So let's move on to copper. So we talked about this. I said last night, copper could get a bid today. It is 1, 2, 3 pullback, pop, classic pattern. I have this potentially getting up to 453, so that would clear this resistance. Now, if it gets up to 453, I don't think it's going to necessarily moonshot to 464. I think it probably stalls out a little bit, at least for maybe a couple of days, and then it can get to 464 potentially. But nothing wrong with that little pullback and pop there on copper. Weekly time frame looks good, just needs to get through that 451. So nothing really wrong there on copper futures. Let's see. So let's talk about Bitcoin. All right. So Bitcoin here, tried to print a green candle yesterday, took out the lows today. It is slipping a little bit. There is a, it does look like there's a lot of gamma around 48,000. So it looks like it's probably being held below that right now. I don't know if that means it bids after option decks or if it dumps. It could go either way, but I will tell you that this weekly pattern here is not the best look. I mean, you have a weekly inside bar, so you could make a case it's building a bear base. And if you lose this trend line here, you trigger a head and shoulders pattern with a big downside target. The good news is you could trigger it and you could find support at 42, and it could end up being a bear trap. So there's that possibility as well. I don't want to do anything with crypto right now. It's just too risky either way. You're too far away from resistance and you're too close to support to really take a trade in either direction, in my opinion. But this is a nasty trend line if it does break, and if it can confirm below that and get through that 42 handle, then things can get problematic for Bitcoin. Same thing kind of with Ethereum. I tried to get above this red bar high, couldn't do that. And now it's just kind of rolling over here. And if this starts to consolidate, this 200 MA will become minor. But for right now, Ethereum's trying to hang in there. It's holding the support area. But if it starts consolidating, that's telling you that it wants to build in a base for a potential move lower. Anyways, I think that's about it here. There's a lot of areas that tax loss selling. So that is probably cleared up now, but there's a lot of January effect plays out there. I think the cannabis stocks are intriguing. Some of these beaten down growth stocks like Peloton, Roku, Zoom, Zillow, DocuSign. Some of these beaten down. Let's see, DraftKings. I haven't checked that in a while. Yeah, DraftKings possibly. Some of these names, you could be a January effect play if you're a little aggressive. But just keep in mind, these things are cheap for a reason. And a lot of them are tech names. And I'm not too fond of tech moving forward. Outside of that, let's take one more look at the spiders here. Yeah, so trying to pop, pulling back here. We got about 30 minutes into the close here. We'll see what they do into the final half hour. I don't think it makes much of a difference either way. There's such a light volume, they could push it either way at this point. But anyways, with that said, you guys have a great, safe New Year's. I will talk to you all this weekend, and I'll have the weekend video out for you tomorrow. Come join the new website, carnivoretrades.com. It is posted below in the link. You guys take care and have a great weekend.